Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I am just sitting here and today is a day, like every day is different and every day is like just bursting with opportunity and bursting with love. Of course, as you know me, that's like the reason for living, and that love is growing and growing every day, even with myself, and accepting all that is and all that is within me. And I'm sitting here this morning and I'm kind of like a lower energy and I'm going with the flow, but I never forget that I am love and that you are love, and that when I lay my head down on the pillow at night, or when I wake up in the morning the same, there is no worrying. And I know that a lot of you think that that's impossible, maybe because I think you haven't tapped into your source. And that source that is everything around you, and that source is synonymous with God and angels and perhaps alien life. I don't know. If you open your mind, I can definitely say for sure that as my mind is open, I experience so many things that are profound. And even if I explain these things to you, they don't resonate because your experience is not my unique experience. Although we are one, so I believe that what I experience, you experience, but in different ways. And because consciousness, this wide, infinite love, awareness, consciousness is all one thing, and it's massive and big, and it doesn't exclude anything, I think. But I can tell you that it is love, and that it is unconditional and infinite. It's always there, and that possibility. So this also too is like the road less traveled. So when you choose to follow your own heart and your own intuition and your intuitive response to what is, it is not encouraged by the masses because it is seen as something illogical. And this little voice in your head that is a conditioned response to what has been is very, very, very convincing. And that little voice is attached to the ego. And the ego is like a coat that you wear. And you've heard me say it again and again, over and over. It is the positive and negative within that voice that controls you and makes you move. Or it can make you move. And move in the direction whichever that voice is leading you. Which is basically illusory, because the ideal of yourself is some kind of construct in your mind that you've made up. Now, this whole thing that I'm sharing with you is the road less traveled because we're not taught these things. But ancient wisdom and in ancient texts, and currently with masters on our universe and in our universe that is saying and pointing towards this thing. I believe all of this is basically concepts, because these are just concepts that we create and we come up with, because in order to understand. Now, I think the brain has no possibility of understanding something because then again, it's a concept. When you experience certain things in your life, such as synchronicity, and you read about, or even had the experience of an OBE, an out-of-body experience, or a near-death experience, all of that evidence is very interesting and intriguing for one to read about. Why do we need to like go into the obvious hijack of the mind and say that's not real because we logically can't understand it, or that science can't prove it? Science can't prove a lot of stuff. And science is like dead, like, I mean not dead, but it's at a point where it can't describe. And if it doesn't include the physics, the metaphysics, the physics, the quantum physics, if it doesn't include it, that is spirit. And then spirit is as much part of our existence as the human part of it. More, I would have to say, or if not all of it. Now, I have come to know that there is a freedom that is right there, and it is right in this moment, and it is the most beautiful, beautiful thing, because in that seeing of that, or recognizing this moment of clarity and not being overwhelmed by thoughts of past and future, there's a clarity that can be seen, and that is freedom. But most people don't want freedom because they want to be attached. They've been taught to be attached to their negative and their positive. So they go out and they, you know, they build up their egos and they continue to fight, to strive, and I would say that, to keep up the charade of being the best of whatever job that they're doing, or occupation, or whatever that is there, because that validates their existence. That is part of our human experience. And well, and also there's the victimhood. There's the victim, which is, I guess in ways can be synonymous. If you recognize all of these constructs within the mind or within the head, there's nothing left. I think then that's why I repeat myself at this moment, because there is nothing left, and there is nothing left in to be done. But like I said, it's the road less traveled, and it's scary because we have to take responsibility for everything in our lives. We have to take responsibility, and we have to own these so-called, I don't know, constructs, which is labeled as sins. Like, you know, I don't know, it can be this way because, you know, you feel like bad or the victim, or you even feel superior, and those extremes are about the same thing because it's on the same stick, because it's coming from a position of lack. And I think, you know, they all maybe produce, those extremes of being a victim and feeling superior are forgetting that we are all part of the big plan, and all part of this unconditional love that's very, very simple and very clear to recognize with the brain. And you have a knowing that love is king. And you know, there's something in my life, on my human experience, that I have come to be, I have learned in some kind of conditioned way to feel, and that comes from me, to feel that the expression of, or expressing my love that I have and sharing what I share, there's something in my ego mind that judges it. And I'm sharing that with you because I know that you're the same. And I know that we don't step out of our comfort zones in order to just experience and not have to have any kind of motive on getting what we get, or to reaffirm certain things such as achievement or competition, where we have to validate those ego constructs that we have built. And that includes also the victimhood. So we do things and we see things in a certain ways because of our thinking patterns. Beside all that, that's just all construct. All of that is okay. All of it is there. All of it's to be seen through. There's like a veil in front of your face. And all of that is to be seen through, and all of it is to be is to be lifted. But people don't want freedom because they're attached to those things. And you know, people who are here watching me will judge me completely by from where they stand, and that's good for them. That's their prerogative and their way. And those of you who are with me, it will resonate with you, and you will find me a like-minded individual that is ascending, I guess you would say, and going into a different experience in my life. And by opening myself and being vulnerable, becomes not so vulnerable anymore that I share this. My mind has its own little way, and it likes to knock on my door, as you'd say, and to try to get me in check. I give no power to that mind of mine and these constructs that make me feel superior or negative. These are on the same stick for me. This constant dualistic view of my daily life is very important with my growth, and so that's why I share. So I take a lot of risks, and I take a lot of risks because I learn from those risks, and I feel that there's nothing to fear. And actually I gain some kind of feeling for myself of compassion, because I understand what people go through. And I experience these things on a daily basis, grand little things. My jobs fall from the sky. I have more money than I've ever had and owned in my pocket. And that is only just some kind of byproduct of my choosing living. I don't a lot of things come to me, and a lot of things I very rarely search for work outside of today. And anyhow, vulnerability is part of the secret of you getting out of this trap that you feel like you're in, be it positive or negative, because they both create resistance in development. Because you are not your ego, that's part of your human thing. But you are not completely just human, and to be practical and rational. You are here, things are irrational and also miracle-like, because that is our birthright, and we are born like this before all the contrast starts to build up inside of you, and where you start to make your choices. You have an opportunity to be guided by that light and unconditional love, or to be hijacked by your mental constructs and your mental garbage that rises in your mind. It is all our prerogative and all our experiences, but I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that you will come back and you will experience things again, so you can get to your fundamental reasoning of being in this beautiful universe, and that is unconditional love with everything that is around you, and every object and every person and everything around you. Thank you so much for watching me, and I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll see you when you're back with me. Thanks again, and much love. I love you so much. I love you very much. Bye-bye.